Can you hear me, Casey?
Oh, she's next door. Okay.
You ready?
Yes, ready.
Y'all ready, guys?
Mhm.
All right. Y'all ready over here? All right. That was way too loud for the amount of people that we had in the room. Good evening. City of Lamarck, City Council, special meeting, public hearing, September 7th, 2021. Notice is hereby given that City Council of the City of Lamarck, Texas will conduct a special meeting, public hearing on September 7th, 2021, beginning at 6 p.m. in the council chambers at 1109 B Bayou Road, Lamarck, Texas, as well as via video video conference, hosted through Zoom in accordance with section 551.127B of the Texas Government Code. A quorum of the City of Lamarck Council and the mayor intend to be and will be physically present at 1109 B Bayou Road, Lamarck, Texas. This location will be open to the public and the meeting will be broadcast at this location and via YouTube. The council will meet for the purpose of considering the following agenda. The meeting has been called to order. Robin, would you give us a roll call, please?
Sure. Councilmember District A,
Present.
Councilmember and Mayor Pro Tem District B,
Present.
Councilmember District C,
Present.
Councilmember District D,
Present.
Thank you, Robin.
and I,
Let's stand for the invocation and the pledge. Mr. Carlson, would you do this in the pledge? Yes, sir. Let's pray. Lord, we certainly honor you today, and we acknowledge that you are our God, creator, redeemer, and sustainer. And certainly we thank you for the people of Lamarck. We thank you for the service, Lord, that you have allowed us to serve them. We pray, Lord, that you would lead us and guide us in your wisdom in this meeting, and we ask it all in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 4, citizens' participation limited to 3 minutes per person. Comments from the public will be heard at this time. Any person with city-related business who is signed up may speak to council on a specific agenda item, limited to 3 minutes. You should give the mayor your name and the item you wish to speak about. Compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, the city may not deliberate on personnel matters. The city may not deliberate on comments. Personal attacks will not be allowed, and personnel matters should be addressed to the city manager during normal business hours. If you are joining us via telephone, you may press *6 to mute or unmute your phone. If you are joining us via Zoom on smartphone, tablet, or computer, there should be in the lower left-hand portion of your screen a microphone in which you can mute and unmute yourself. In any case, certainly, I'll call on you, give your name and the item you wish to speak about. Are there any persons, Kyle, via teleconference or Zoom that wish to speak? Mr. Marita. Mr. Marita? Okay. There are no persons here today in the audience wishing to speak, so we'll move to item 5. Item 5, public hearing. Conduct first public hearing to hear public input regarding the fiscal year 2021-2022 proposed budget. Ms. Koo, do you have anything to add before we enter this public hearing? Those items that you want to speak about, we can speak in the public hearing if you like.
Okay.
Anything before that?
Not anything before that.
Okay, okay. We'll close the special meeting at,
13.
we'll open our public hearing at 6:13. Ms. Koo, council, has something that she needs direction on as it relates to the leasing of our fleet for the 2021-2022 budget year. She has some information she'd like to shed light on so that we can give her, not through vote, but through just our opinion how she should proceed. Ms. Koo.
Yes, sir. I know we just went through the city manager's proposed budget with council with discussions on different topics. And one of the topics that we discussed was the fleet. If you recall, we proposed to replace about 14 vehicles in our fleet. And normally I wait until the budget is adopted, then place the order for those replacement vehicles. Well, I received a call today and from Enterprise, and there has been some news out in the market about trucks, availability of trucks, because of the shortage of the chips. And we don't know what GM is going to do. I mean, now after Ida, there could be a pause to manufacturing of trucks. That doesn't, that may not just GM, it could be Toyota and everybody else. So we can still place the order this week and lock it in. Next week, we don't know. Remember, we're at the peak season of hurricanes too. And with Ida and all these other uncertainties, we don't know what GM is going to do. And I heard a little bit of that from the news regarding the shortfall of trucks and the projected pricing of trucks in the near future. So I don't know. I mean, should we take chances and wait 8 days until after the budget is formally adopted and then place the order? Or should we go ahead and order them now? Now, fair market value of the trucks, chances are it's going to go really up. How far? We don't know. Could be triple. So it depends on what GM is going to do, which also means that since these are 14 vehicles of replacement, what we give up, the fair market value of those we're giving up, the trucks, could also bring us more equity in return. That's a savings. So that's market driven at a certain time, right? Where buying new one, these are factory pricing if we go through Enterprise. So they're not retail pricing. So we can have those pricing locked in based on the estimates that we proposed to council last month. Actually, this is September, 2 months ago in July, okay? So they're locked in. But when we do sell what we have, remember it's a replacement, we can pick the most favorable time when the market value is at skyrocketed and sell it. We can have a more equity in return back into our pocket. So that's a good thing for us in terms of, it's really not the buyer's market anymore in terms of trucks. It's the seller's market. So what we have is very valuable. But what we can do is take advantage of now that we can still get them at the factory pricing or the locked in pricing and get it to in our hands. That would be a good thing. Normal procedures, we don't do anything until the budget is adopted. Normal procedures. This is a little bit not normal this year due to so many different things that's out of our control. So I'm just asking for advice. Timing is everything. Okay, so just want to seek advice from council, what's the best way to do? Right now, if we do it, we're just assuming the budget is going to be adopted based on what we planned.
Okay.
So there's not a win-win.
So what you're saying is the council has been considering the leasing of 14
Mhm.
public works vehicles, all of them trucks.
All trucks.
That was part of our budget discussion.
That was part of our budget discussion.
So a council tentatively gave the go-ahead to lease 14 trucks. The word in the industry is that there is a shortage of chips that go into these trucks.
Mhm.
And that would then possibly put in jeopardy either our ability to acquire those trucks at all, or it would drastically change the pricing of the acquisition of those trucks.
Mhm.
So what you're saying is historically, you wait until the budget has been passed
Mhm.
before you begin the order
That's
and the
correct.
acquisition of those trucks.
That's correct.
So you're asking us, because we can't vote on this, as council, to tell you individually what we think should happen. Did everybody understand that?
Mhm.
Okay, so Casey, you want to go first?
Sure. My first question is, other than it being sort of a breach in protocol, really, or just like a break in how we normally do things, are there any other financial implications that are a drawback to us going ahead and enacting this agreement before the budget is passed officially, Susie? Or is it only, do you only see it as a financial incentive? Are there any drawbacks that you can think of?
No, there's not any drawback. It's just the timing.
Right. It's just that it's not the way we normally do things. So it feels
Exactly.
a little squishy.
Mhm.
Got it.
Exactly.
I mean, to be honest, because savings and finance and that was such a huge part of this year's budget, and having to adjust so many things financially, I'm in favor of, I mean, we need these trucks desperately, and if there's a chance that we might not get them if we wait another, what would be the exact timeline for when you would be able to do it normally? That would be mid-October.
Normally, yes. Mhm.
If we think that, I don't think it's that big of a difference now between now and mid-October. If the biggest impact would be we might not get these trucks, or we might get these trucks at a much higher rate, I would be willing to say, let's go for it now. But I do understand that that's kind of squishy, like making a choice like that, because we haven't officially adopted the budget. But I think I would be willing to do it in this case. That's my personal opinion right now.
And IDA changed a whole lot. IDA
Sure.
changed a
Right.
whole lot. And we're not even done with hurricane season yet. And there's a lot of uncertainties out there.
Mhm.
So we don't know what GM is going to do, in terms of final decision. They can just put a pause to manufacturing.
Mhm.
Don't know.
Okay.
So too many uncertainties.
Well, in summary, that's my feeling, Mayor, is I'd be willing to do something that's a little abnormal if we thought if the benefit was we can make sure we get these trucks and we can make sure we got them at the rate that we agreed on as a council. So there you
Okay.
go.
Thank you, Casey. Michael?
Just a couple things to make sure I'm on the right sheet of music. So if we place this order now, it's gonna lock in the price, even if we don't get the trucks till February. Okay, but we're not gonna give up the trucks we have now until the replacements come, correct?
Mhm.
Okay, and then we can sell those at the high point.
That's right.
Okay. Like Casey, I agree, it's kind of unorthodox, but it's been a weird year again.
It's crazy.
So, and I think overall, we're gonna save money, especially if we can sell them at a high point. So I would go ahead, that's my recommendation, is just go ahead, place the order and lock it in.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Kim?
Typically with GMC, sometimes you can lock in the price now without having to pay a dime until after the October 1 budget, if it's squishy. So I'm the type of person I like to ask if there's a way for us to do that because of the suspected shortages, but there should be a person we can talk to at the GMC, because I know you said you saw it on the news, that was a possible shortage. I would suggest that you try to get some clarification on that, just to make sure that that's going to be the case from the person that we normally purchase from.
Mhm.
Because since we do have a relationship, maybe they'll allow us to lock it in and not pay until October 1. Until that money becomes, free and clear, so we won't have anyone question that. So I really suggest, my recommendation is that you ask and look at all those possibilities. Because of Ida, they may be willing to work with us and to not charge us until after October 1st. Never know.
Actually, right now, when we're ordering, we're not paying anything yet.
Okay.
We're just locking in the pricing,
Okay,
just to place order. And Enterprise already has established that relationship between Enterprise and GM
okay.
and other manufacturers as well. So
Okay.
we already have that route going, and this is the reason why we're bringing this to
So
council.
we don't pay out anything until after October.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly, absolutely.
Mhm. No, I'm just thinking because I like to
Yeah.
go through, Enterprise is our middleman.
Mhm.
And I think it's important that we get someone at GMC just so we can know what we're talking about and not have to go by a newspaper article.
Mhm.
So.
Right now, we are taking advantage of that relationship between
Right.
Enterprise and the manufacturers.
Yeah.
And that's why, for us, it helps with our fleet because of
Right.
that relationship.
I'm on the fence. I'm gonna listen a little bit more.
Okay. Joe, what you thinking?
First, I'm opposed to any change in the process. Why? This relationship with Enterprise goes back more than 10 years, correct?
Mhm.
We have a single source. And as
Okay.
Councilperson Yancey correctly pointed out, they are a middleman. They're making money off the deal.
Actually, it's not more than 10 years. I don't think it's 10 years
We,
yet.
we looked at it in the budget discussion. It predates Miss.
8 years.
Yeah.
As I recall,
8
I
years.
recall my figures. And the other thing is they are a middleman. I passed on to the city manager. I haven't received any information back about the municipal credit entity, Mr. City Manager. I didn't hear back anything. Was there any outreach on that? That's using municipal bonds where we establish a line of credit. We're not tied to, in my world, I'm not tied to General Motors.
Mhm.
There are other entities and companies out there. Under the municipal bond methodology, they establish a line of credit for us based upon
Mhm.
period at a reduced rate.
Mhm.
And then we go out and acquire vehicles at the best rates that we can find them at, whichever way. So, but in terms of your specific question, no, I'm not in favor of it. We follow the same process. But if we're sticking to Enterprise, but I think that's that relationship, just kind of like the
Actually, they're
relationship
not in
with,
favor of General Motor either. It was us. We chose, I think Ford and GMC. It was us who preferred that
Hmm.
to help with our operations. That's why,
well, I can understand that
Yeah.
where you've got
They were-
consistency in terms of your equipment if you made prior purchases.
right.
But there's not enough, you've got a relationship 10 years old. In my world, I like to keep things fresh, find out what's new out there. That's all I'm saying.
So, how many of our vehicles are scheduled to go offline this year?
I think. Chase,
I
help
would
me
have to
out.
check.
Okay.
Okay.
And we estimated about 14 being due for replacement due to the mileage and the conditions, so forth. So,
Those 14, so the 14 that we were discussing replacing, that was due to those that we have been leasing, they've reached a certain mileage.
mhm.
Mhm.
Of course, now we don't have to go with Enterprise with those 14. We can just
So,
buy new ones and
Right, right,
replace
right.
them. I mean,
and so here's the deal as
That's
it sits, as far as I can see. And we're in a terrible, terrible situation, all of us. And none of us put us here, right? We get it. We as a council tentatively approve these 14 vehicles. We as a council tentatively approved going through enterprise, right?
Mhm.
So we approved the need of these vehicles, and we approved the method that we would acquire these vehicles.
Mhm.
And now you're simply saying to us, council, do what you want, but understand, after the budget is passed, if in fact there's a shortage of chips, the price to acquire these vehicles will go up tremendously, if in fact we still can acquire them. That's all you're saying today.
Mhm.
You're saying that because we as a council approved 14 vehicles and approved the methodology that we are acquiring these vehicles,
Mhm.
right? So we did all that.
Mhm.
You're just saying either go now or go later.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay. I don't typically, I'm gonna let you in, Joe. I don't typically like to move before the voters, right? And that's a difficult situation. So I'm trying to navigate and feel my way through this. Because you're right, there are savings that we could probably realize, but at the same time, the process is incomplete. And it's almost, and it's not your fault. We get all that. It's almost like spiking the ball and we hadn't scored the touchdown yet. So I can see that part of it.
Well, it's not just the savings. I don't know how things are gonna go. We may or may not get enough trucks in the market to be able to buy them. It's the supply and demand.
Yeah,
So we don't know. You
yeah.
know, yeah, prices can go up too. But maybe there aren't enough people in the market willing to buy even at a higher price. And there may not be enough supply out there to meet the demands.
Yeah, yeah. I'm hanging on the fence, but I'm kind of leaning more toward the
Right.
idea that if we had heartburn, and we did, over people being hired in our city before council gave them permission to hire those people, then we're in the same boat. If we proceed, in my opinion, with acquiring vehicles before the budget process is fully completed. And again, that's not what you're advocating. You're bringing us information, and I love you for that, Susie. I appreciate it. So that's why I'm at. I'm leaning more towards, we may have to take our chances because the process is incomplete. And if we jump ahead of the process, then we'll know better than the people that we have held accountable for jumping ahead of the process. It's my initial thoughts, but I'd like, Joe had something he wanted to say, and we'll keep trying to figure this out.
Mr. I just need some clarity.
Yes, sir.
You said something and I wasn't aware of this happening. If it did happen, I'd just like to know when it happened. You said that we had approved using enterprise. When we had the budget discussions, it was noted that enterprise had been used in the past, but I don't recall any formal action that we've taken to say, utilize enterprise again. It
was the fleet program that went before council
Well,
back in
And I asked
2013.
for more information about that fleet program
Uh-huh.
because of the age of the.
Correct.
of
I
the fleet
forwarded that
program,
contract as well to everybody,
Yeah.
council.
You know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I did.
that's what I have not seen, I haven't understood that.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those guys who likes to understand all those things.
And when I say approve, I mean, what I'm saying is that in the budget workshop, all of this discussion was surrounding this idea that we would acquire these vehicles, and very little of the discussion was around the idea that we would look for a different middleman, to Kim's point. So it's just so not officially, we haven't approved anything officially, but just in our discussions. But fair point, Joe, fair point.
But I will say it also was like the numbers we were looking at and the entire program was based on that fleet program through enterprise. So I think what Susie is referring to and Chase is that like they were the basis for what we were
Right.
proving those numbers on.
Mhm. Yes.
Yeah.
And I would also encourage you, encourage the city manager to look into the programs with the Houston Galveston Area Council too. They have programs too where we can purchase. That is, that can maybe even be more competitive, but thank you so much for making us aware of the possibilities
Mhm.
that may happen. Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
we're just a little hyper political right now, so we
Mhm.
have to be
Right.
really careful about some of the things that we do.
You think, Yancy? Just a little?
And really, it's only 8 days. You know, what can happen in 8 days,
Yeah.
you know?
The world can turn 8 times.
You'd be surprised.
But definitely, so Susie, let's drill down on this
Okay.
really clearly. Thank you for your diligence and thank you
Yes,
for
sir.
bringing this to us.
Sir.
That you did an excellent job by doing this, right? And none of the comments, and I think that I can say this for council, none of them are directed at what you did. They're just directed at whether or not we want to move forward this way or that way.
Mhm.
But amazing job bringing this to us, catching this for us. Let me ask you this, Chase, if the worst case scenario happens where there are no chips and we aren't able to acquire any vehicles, would those 14 vehicles be able to last us another year?
Yes, sir. And I mean,
And-
we're having the same issues with water meters, everything, ordering water. I mean, it's
'Cause of the
an
chip?
issue with the chips. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Serious issue.
okay.
Hey, Mayor, can I change my opinion? Because the you brought that to light about previous councils, previous administrations doing things. You're absolutely right. We won't be any better than previous administrations. So
Yeah.
I think we need to hold off.
Okay.
So I want to change my opinion
Okay.
to, let's do
It's
the
an
right thing.
abnormal year and a lot of things is just,
Yeah,
you
it's an
know,
abnormal year, but we
crazy.
need to do the right thing.
Yeah,
We do.
yeah. Let's,
We
we
do.
are a transparent council.
Mhm.
And we brought this discussion before the people. And certainly we want to lead by example. I think it's a great idea, and I think that under every other circumstance, it wouldn't be a problem. But I think that as we are setting the leadership of this community in the way that we are transparent, leading according to what the people want, I think that the best decision, and this is just me talking, we don't vote on this, we just give you our
Right.
opinion.
right.
We have to let the process be completed first before we move. And again, Mayor Pro Tem has some questions about whether or not we should use, and maybe Kim does as well, whether or not we should use enterprise. We'll let them flesh that out and do research. And if they find anything that's of note, certainly they'll bring that to us and we'll go from there. But I think that you're hearing us say it's a really, really good idea. But we don't want to be like, we don't want to be seen as a council that does not do things according to protocol and according to the norms of municipal government. So thank you for that.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Now, this is a public hearing. So is there anybody on the Zoom or in the audience that has questions about our proposed budget? Going once. Going twice. Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing at 6:37. We'll move on to new business. Item 6A, discussion possible action regarding adopting ordinance number letter O -2021-0015, making appropriations for the support of the city of Lamarck for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2021 and ending September 30th, 2022, appropriating money to a sinking fund to pay interest and principal due on the city's indebtedness, and adopting the annual budget for the city of Lamarck 2022 fiscal year. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote. All those, I'm sorry, go ahead,
I'm
go ahead,
sorry.
Joe. Go ahead.
This is under 6B, right?
I'm on A.
Oh, A.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 6B, discussion possible action regarding adopting ordinance number letter O dash 2021 dash 0016, levying ad valorem taxes for use and operation of the municipal government of the city of Lamarck, Texas for the 2021 tax year, providing for apportioning each levy for specific purposes, and providing when taxes shall become due, when same shall become delinquent if not paid. Now, there is a discussion that needs to be had on this item. So we know that we set our tax rate at 55 cents. Susie, give us the correct number, please. This is a very particular discussion we have to have so that our citizens know what we are doing. Go ahead, Susie.
Yes, sir. It's at 0.550764.
0.55
Yes.
764. Okay. Now, this is the tax rate that we began to work on before Senate Bill 2, before the numbers from Senate Bill 2 came from the tax assessor's office. Is that correct, Susie?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is the rate that we passed last year. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. It's the
This is
same
the rate that we began our budget workshops with. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Senate Bill 2 came into effect, and you had a conversation with the tax assessor collector, Ms. Johnson, and what did she say? What rate did she, how did Senate Bill 2 affect us?
How did Senate Bill 2 affect us? With Ms. Johnson's calculations, the rollback rate turns out to be 0.477076. So because our proposed tax rate at 0.550764 is higher than the voter approval rate. It used to be called rollback rate, I'm sorry, but now it's called voter approval rate at 0.477076. The taxpayer has the right to petition for us to roll back to 0.477076. And that's what Senate Bill 2 allows for that. Now, however, there is also a de minimis rate that the city can have, and I don't have it with me, but it's at much higher than our proposed
Is
rate.
it
at-
63
Yes,
cents?
yes. So we are below that. Okay, so because we are below that, then that's the reason why the petition. If we're above that, that is an automatic election, no petition. But because we're below that, we're not reaching that height at all. So we're really keeping the same tax rate as prior years. The only thing changed is really the value. And that's beyond our control. That is done through the Galveston County Central Appraisal District.
So Susie, here's the deal. So
Mhm.
if we continue at 55 cents, we are opening ourselves up to a petition
Mhm.
from the community
Mhm.
by which they would be able to petition the council
Mhm.
to order a rollback election.
Yes, sir.
And if the rollback election is ordered and the
Mhm.
people vote that we roll back, we will
Mhm.
roll back to 47 cents.
Yes, that's right.
If we stay at 55, they can petition the people petition council. cause us to order a rollback election. If the rollback election is successful, we will go back to 47 cents.
47 cents.
Now, what is the difference in revenue between 55 and 47?
It's about $993,577
Okay,
that we have to cut.
so if the people petition and they're successful, then, and we roll back the rate to 47, we lose 992,000,
93,000.
90, how many?
993,000.
93,000?
$577.
$577. Now, I received some information that said that we could possibly be able to get that rate up to 49.490519 from Cheryl Johnson's office.
Mhm.
0.490519, which is about 2 cents more than the 47 rate, right?
Mhm.
And I'm just, Susie, this is Susie's first time hearing this, y'all, so bear with her. And they also said something to the effect of our estimated freeze revenue, and freeze revenue is the revenue that is generated from people that have their taxes frozen, people that are disabled, people that are over 65, right? That's the freeze rate.
Mhm.
That estimation of revenue is $905,392, but that you only estimate collecting 50% of that. You should never say we collect 100%. You probably only gonna get half of that, right?
Mhm.
So that would add to this 551,600. I'm sorry, 450,000. That would add to that 450,000. And I was also told that the new improvements that we have might generate another $200,000 for a total of 650,000. So in other words, they told me that we can go with a 49-cent rate. And if we were to add $450,000 from the freeze, 50% collection of the freeze, and add another $200,000 from the new revenue, we can get up to $650,000, right? So that's the closest we can get to closing the gap of that $993,000 on their best guesstimate. Does that make sense to you, Susie?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, we're just trying to follow along. So even with the rates that they provided me, that they would be able to bump us from 47 to 49, and adding half of the freeze folks, and adding the new generation from the new revenue, we're still about $350,000 short. Does that make sense?
That makes sense, but be careful.
Okay, I'm just telling you what they told me because I
Okay.
want this discussion
Mhm.
to be in the public. That's all I'm
Right.
saying.
Be careful, when we bring you the proposed budget in terms of property tax revenues, she's only seeing that side in terms of the freeze. But from our side, when we bring you those numbers, they were based on taxable value that they provided us. Not just the freeze, but the taxable,
Okay,
at a 97% collection rate, which we already captured, what she so-called the 50% of that freeze that you just brought up.
you've already captured that?
That's correct, the
Okay.
$450,000. Because we based it on historical trends, what we actually collected, the actual data that we collected, that they collected for us, that actually went into our bank account. We based it on the real thing. Where
Okay.
she's saying the freeze, can bring you 900 and something $1,000 and capturing 50% of that. But that's not how we based it on. We based it on the real actual cash arrived in here. And then estimate at 97% collection rate, which has been happening past few years. Okay, so we based it on real facts. So they're two different, not apples to apples here. But I believe we already captured, may not be 50%, but we already captured that portion that she said to you, the 900 and something $1,000 at some percentage based on what we actually collected.
Okay, so you're saying so you've already captured that in some way. So here's what it boils down to. And I said that because this is new information that I have. I wanted to get this out. I wanted you to be able to speak to it. We have reason to believe that there may be a petition. And so we want to make this part of what we're doing crystal clear. And we want this to be as transparent as possible. So at this point, we're looking at 55 cents versus 47 to 49 cents. So at this point, council, do y'all have any questions about what we're talking about? Casey? Michael?
No questions other than I think we need to show the public what they'd be losing.
That's what we're getting into next. Right.
Okay.
Right. I'm with you. Kim, you got any questions on it?
No, I trust what the staff brought us with the 55 cents, even though I know you're trying to show the value of it all, but I do think we need to stay at the same rate,
Okay.
tax rate.
Joe, you got any questions about it?
Well, I'm hearing this for the first time.
Yes,
number
sir.
one.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this process of providing for the taxpayer, the property owner, the taxpayer, a petition, if we were to, if we do not go over the de minimis rate, the de minimis rate is the 0.63 cents for 21, 22. And therefore you can go, every city in Texas is going through this. League City just went through it, right? They basically, they did the same thing. They did the same thing. They pretty well set the same rate from last year. Of course, our goal is to get our sales tax income to increase, right? And this council is hopeful in doing other encouraging developers to do certain activities within the city and proceed forth on the development side. But your comment, Mr. Mayor, about somebody, that's just a rumor. There's not been any sort of formal effort. There's a process associated with that, right, Gus?
That's correct.
And
Yes.
you might, it's a burden. It's
Yes.
a
it's-
process. You might let people know, and Robin as well too.
Right.
There's a strict process if you're going to undertake that.
That's correct. Yes, it's a certain percentage of the registered voters in the city within a certain amount of time.
Within a
After-
certain amount of time.
Yes.
Well, let me interject there and say this. It's not a rumor. Again, over the weekend, I met with Ms. Johnson's deputy,
Yes.
with Ms. Johnson's blessing to try to give a better understanding of it. And that's what was told to me. Now it might just be a threat, might just be an inquiry. We don't know, but that's the information that I received. And so go ahead, Joe.
Well, I guess that's where I'm still having the confusion. The process would have to begin here. The process doesn't begin with Ms. Johnson's office.
I get what I get what you're saying, but
So they could.
I get what you're saying, but maybe folks don't know that.
uh-huh.
Maybe folks thought that it started with Ms. Johnson's office. I don't know.
Yeah.
My role and my goal in this part of the discussion is simply to put everything on the table.
Mhm.
And so that, because we're going to get into the idea of, what way we should go and what that would do to our budget. I'm just trying to give the public as much information as we possibly can about what we have been discovering. This Senate Bill 2 is a nightmare for everybody. And it's a difficult thing to discuss. It's a difficult thing to articulate. You can look at it from all sorts of angles and it's very confusing. But what I want to make sure of is that nobody can say that we were not as transparent as we could be with the limited understanding that we have of this new bill, right? Because I think Susie would even say she isn't as familiar with this bill as she probably wants to be.
Exactly. It's very confusing.
You're hearing different things from different places. And I want to make sure that the public knows that we're trying to figure. Go ahead,
To
Joe.
clarify, Susie, this is something on the council agenda form here.
Mhm.
It's under the item 6B. Down at the end of the page here, it says September 7th, which is adoption of the tax rate 2021 on first reading.
Mhm. The 16th of August, and we had one on the
Those were the
23rd of
other
August.
previous ones that we had. And that's what that's referring to. That's why you've interjected that here?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so it's two different items here we're talking about. Right here, it says third public hearing.
Oh, the public hearing, yeah.
The first public hearing is, we just passed right now,
Okay,
right?
that was the earlier one, the first action item?
Well, tonight is the budget public hearing. It's not the tax public hearing.
So I guess I'm reading this then. So this is referring to the August 23rd, 2021 action of second public hearing on proposed tax rate for tax year 2021.
Yes, sir.
And then this would be September 13th would be the third
Yes, sir.
public hearing.
Uh-huh.
Is that for that subject?
Uh-huh.
All right. Okay, that was, okay, just wanted to clarify.
I just want to add my 2 cents here, and that is that for me personally, my feeling about the decision we made during budget workshops hasn't changed. I think that we made the decision that was the best fiscally for the city, and trying to very quickly adapt to this pretty dramatic and significant change and how it impacts our budget. I think that we should stay at that 55 cents. And, I really appreciate what you're doing, Mayor Bell, and that at every turn, we try to make as clear as possible. This is what we're doing. This is why we're doing it. And I do think that we just have to be prepared for if there's a petition and if we are forced to change to a different rate, then we will address it. Then we'll have to do we'll have a whole series of meetings where we're going to have to readdress everything. But I would like to bet on the good guys and hope that if we're being as forthcoming as possible and letting everyone know what that big dollar figure means for things like public works, for all the departments, for everything, and the fact that we're not going up, we are simply maintaining the same tax rate that we've had.
That's correct.
I think I would really like to be optimistic that the majority of our citizenry is going to understand that. So, and I think it's just honestly, it's as the stewards of the budget, it's the best thing for us to do is have that optimistic plan. Know that we might have to change, but if we don't have to do that yet, it's best for the city to plan for the 55 cents.
Mhm. And also the third public hearing, that is required from our charter, because when you have an ordinance, we have to have a public hearing. That is in our charter. That's for our charter requirement. That's why it's the third public hearing.
Mhm.
Well, here's the deal. Here's the deal. So to Joe's point, we have had on August 16th, and I'm saying this for the public's edification. August 16th, we had our first public hearing on the proposed tax rate.
Yes, sir.
August 23rd, we had our second public hearing on the proposed tax rate.
Yes, sir.
Next Monday, we will have our third public hearing on the proposed tax rate.
Yes, sir.
Is that true?
That is true.
Most cities do two, and we're doing,
Most
three.
cities does one.
most cities do one,
It's
and we're
required
doing
one.
three.
We're doing
Let the
three.
record reflect, most cities do one, we're doing three. Now, this is our community's tax dollars. At any time, the community can come and have their say about their tax rate.
Mhm.
We are not making decisions outside of our community's interests. We are not making decisions outside of our community's thoughts, ideas, and desires for their services, their goods and their services, right?
Mhm.
Let me say for me, and perhaps maybe the others can chime in, it doesn't matter to me whether it's 55 cent or 47 cent or 49 cent. I will do, let me be clear, I will do whatever the majority of the citizens of Lamarck wants us to do as it relates to the tax rate. I have no problem going to 33 cent. I don't care. I will do what they want us to do. That's me. I assume that can be said all around this dais. Now, having said that, again, whatever the community wants, whatever rate they want, we will do. One more time, whatever rate they want, we will do. If we go below 55, Susie, what will we lose?
If we go below 55, if we go below 55 cents, we are gonna lose the following. The council budget for the volunteers expense. Okay, that's about $1,000. The upgrade, the assistant to city manager's position. The mental therapist contractor, the dispatcher's pay increase, the training and promotion budget for the fire department, the deputy chief for the police department, half year, the ID officer for the police department, half year, the narcotics officer for the police department, half year, and then the 2 street crimes police officers at the police department, half year. And the dog, the K9, basically, these are the things that we will lose.
So let's frame it. Let's frame it for a picture for their wall. If we go to 47, it will have a devastating impact on our ability to keep us safe. If we go below 55, it will have a devastating impact on public safety. If we go below 55, we are working counterproductive to our police and fire departments. If we go below 55, we're working against our police department. If we go below 55,
Sure.
we can't say anything about crime in our city.
That's right.
That's the frame. This is about public safety.
Mhm.
We can do whatever you want to do, but no, if we go below 55, our ability to move forward as a safe city is put in jeopardy. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay.
You're absolutely right. And we just discussed the topic about trucks availability and the chances of truck pricing being skyrocketed and supply and demand shortfall. Well, there might be, a desperate need for public safety in terms of auto crimes. Safety, public safety is more important than ever before, especially with so much going on going into next year in the near future. So it is very important around the world, not just our city. So, but it's just our projections based on what's going on in the world and everything that's all the uncertainties. And this is the best that we can project from the economy. So I would not bet on public safety. I mean, if it was me, it is more important than ever before going into next year. With the economy and the Ida aftermath, the economy is going to take a hit. So
Absolutely.
I don't know how else to stress how important it is in terms of public safety going into next year.
Absolutely. Any other discussion on this item before we vote? Did we get a motion, Robin, in a second?
No.
Okay,
No, but you do have to, this is a roll call vote.
okay, okay. Any other discussion before we get a motion, a second, and a roll call vote?
I just want it on the record that I'll, like you, I'll do what my constituents want. However, I think we're putting public safety at risk. So hopefully
Mhm.
they consider that and the positions they would lose if they did that. But I would support whatever they want.
Good deal. Good deal. Kim, Joe?
I think it's also very important that we continue to improve our city services as we are the second fastest growing city in Galveston County. We are doing what we can fiscally and responsibly to make our city the safest city, one of the safest cities in Texas. And to do that, it takes services to do that. It takes good accounting to do that. And I think we've done our due diligence. And I still say that the rate to keep it the same is proper. And let me say this, it is important that these are the forums, the professional forums that we should come to as citizens to get on the public record about your feelings, not on social media. That's not a public record for this council. So it's important that you use the professional and the proper forums to make your voice heard. Your voice matters to us as your representatives to hear from you. But for those of us who recently moved back to Lamarck in the last 10 years, and we've complained about our water pressure, we've complained about other services or the lack thereof, this is a move to make sure that we have exactly what we need to be an amazing city. And so that is why I highly recommend that we follow the advice of our intelligent and capable staff who have done their due diligence to give us the best tax rate possible in order to do not only a good job, but the best job possible. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, a long time ago, when my dad was alive, Mr. Mayor, he used to call me a knucklehead quite often. And I guess I'm going to be a knucklehead right now and say that I will defend the 55-cent rate, period.
Yeah.
Why? Because as Council Member Yancey so eloquently stated, we spent more hours and more days than any previous council in reviewing every item, every department, line by line. There is so much information that we have provided to our residents. If they want to avail themselves of both the YouTube hearings that we had on the budget, as well as the supporting documents with regard to the budget. So you're a much nicer person than me, Mayor. I will support the 55 cents. I will defend it and say we need to maintain this rate. Period.
Casey?
I couldn't agree more with Joe. Honestly, I mean, you know, obviously, if the thing about, well, so many of the ways that our citizenry can vote, I mean, we all know elections themselves, right? Such a small fraction of our citizens vote in them, right? Such a small fraction is required to really make huge changes in our city. And, you know, that's a whole other can of worms, because I know we all wish that we had 100% turnout for all of our elections, from big to small. And the same goes for this petition. You know, I think if there were to be a petition and there were to be, you know, the challenge for us to roll back, I would vehemently defend the need for us to remain at 55. It would, you know, I'm going to always try to approach every big decision that we make with integrity and an open mind, and trying to hold myself accountable to the fact that I am one person elected to represent many, but we're also elected to try to make the most sound decisions based on all the information that we receive. And I cannot see a situation where cutting our budget in this way would be a benefit for the city. And so I echo what Joe says, and I say, let's trust the people. We got smart, compassionate citizens, and so let's move forward.
Thank you, Casey. Joe brought up a huge point, and that is this council has spent more time on this budget than any other council ever in this city. we've spent 5 days, full days on this budget.
Mhm.
Now, there will always be folks, for whatever reason, that live off of undermining progress. There will always be folks that because of whatever they have going on inside of them, whether it be envy or jealousy or hurt, or whatever they have unfulfilled within them, that will find reasons to fight, and they'll find reasons to attempt to undermine government, and they'll find reasons to attempt to undermine the elected officials of their community. This city is no different. But I do feel good about what we've done. And at the end of the day, if there's a fight about a tax rate, let me be clear. It is not you, whoever you might be. It won't be you against Mayor Bell. It won't be you against Mr. Compion or Ms. Yancey or Mr. Carlson or Ms. McAuliffe. It will be you against public safety. Let me be clear. If there is a fight, it will be you, sir, madam, against the public safety interests of our community. And if you want to have that fight with the people that already feel, many of them, unsafe, go right ahead, because they'll take that fight every day, all day. I think that we've done the right thing. I think that we've done what we could to the best of our ability to put in position, this city in position to have resources to keep our citizens safe. And again, if you have a problem with that, then you have a problem with keeping our citizens safe. And that's how we frame this debate. And so I'll move on from that, and I'll entertain a motion to approve this tax rate. I'm sorry, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, no, I'd like to make a motion, and but it's not the one that's here. I'm moving that the property tax rate be set at the same level as last year by the adoption of the tax rate of 550764.
Excuse me.
Not
I
accurate.
think we need to read from the quotation.
Well, I know that, but I didn't read from that, but
Yeah, you do have to read that sentence in its entirety when you make one.
I'm reading it, but it's not. Here's my question. I just need clarification. This says increase. We're
I know.
not increasing it.
We're not.
We're
but
setting-
We're stuck with the law.
Sorry?
We're stuck because of the law requires to obey them.
The law says that we read it like this?
Yes, sir. Here,
Okay.
and it's driving me crazy.
All right. So I'll preface my motion by saying this is a legal requirement,
Yes,
notwithstanding the fact
yes,
that we're setting this at the same rate as last year.
yes, sir.
Okay, so I move that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of 0.550764, which is effectively a 16.97% increase in the tax rate. That's the legal
That's the legal.
language that I'm required to read.
And it's not
or we're required.
necessarily true. It's just
Okay.
legal.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Let's clear this up before we go to our roll call vote. When your valuation increases, when your home, when CAD gives you an increase in your property valuation, even though the tax rate stays the same, the amount of tax revenue increases. So this is why this is in here. Nothing more, nothing less. We have not increased the tax
That's
rate,
correct.
but more taxes are generated because we have more houses, and CAD has raised your valuation.
It's the aggregate dollar
There you
value.
go. There you go.
Yes,
And
sir.
that clarifies that, because I have heartburn with that just like Joe does.
Me too.
But I wanted to put that on the record. Nobody is increasing your tax rate.
Yep.
CAD has increased your valuation.
That's correct.
All right. Any other discussion? All right, we're getting ready to have a roll call vote. Robin?
Councilmember District A, what do you vote?
I vote for it.
Councilmember District B,
4.
Councilmember District C,
4.
Councilmember District D,
I vote for it.
and Mayor.
4.
Five ayes. Aye.
All right. Good job, ladies and gentlemen. Now we're down to item C, discussion, possible action regarding adopting ordinance number letter O 2021 amending Appendix A, Schedule of Fees and Charges of the Code of Ordinances, City of Lamarque, Texas, by amending prescribed solid waste collection charges. Susie, you want to shed some light on this really quickly?
Yes, sir. This is just per contract that we have with Waste Management. Annually, there is that adjustment of 3%, and we've been doing this every year annually. So the city is just really the pass-through. And the contract doesn't end until 2024, so we will continue doing the same thing every year until we end the contract. And then, of course, the new contract kicks in, and depends on what the terms are with the new contract. But yeah, annually, it's a 3% adjustment.
Thank you,
So
Susie.
this is just per contract.
Thank you, Susie.
Yes, sir.
I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion?
I just make a comment,
Go ahead,
and
Joe.
once again, not having been around when this contract was negotiated, there will be just for the sewer charges, correct?
No, this is just the
This is-
garbage.
This is the, which part?
Just the garbage.
The garbage,
Yeah, just the garbage.
just the garbage.
Yes, sir.
That is gonna increase by 3%. So if I'm being charged $20 right now per month,
Mhm,
I would see an increase of 3% on that $20.
mhm.
And I would still see my water bill, and I would still see my water usage.
Mhm.
And I hope that we get all the meter situation clarified too. I'd like to have a discussion and bring that back as well.
Mhm.
And then the third item, of course, is our sewer charges on the bill. There's
But
those
this is
three
on the garbage.
charges,
Yeah, exactly.
three charges. And
Three
the other two are not impacted by
No, they're
this.
not. This is only garbage.
This is just the,
Only garbage.
the
Yes, sir.
okay.
Well, it's also recycling as well, right, Susie?
Yes,
Right, okay.
mhm,
But it's
because
just-
it's part of that contract.
That's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
I was just clarifying.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 7, executive session. The city council for the city of Lamarque, Texas reserves the right to adjourn into executive session at any time during the course of this meeting to discuss any of the matters listed below as authorized by the Texas Government Code, Section 551.071, consultation with attorney, 551.072, deliberations about real property, 551.073, deliberations about gifts and donations, 551.074, personnel matters, 551.076, deliberations about security devices, and 551.086, economic development. We will go into executive session under section 551.071, consultation with attorney. Robin, you have time?
7:17.
We will close our special meeting at 7:17 and retreat into our executive session. Casey, can
I'm
you hear
here.
us? Okay, all right. Y'all ready? We are back in our special council meeting out of our executive session at what time, Robin?
8:43.
8:43. There is no agenda item that calls for actions taken out of executive session, so we'll move to item 8, requests and announcements from council. Who wants to go first? Casey, you want to go first?
None for me. Thank you, everybody.
None for you. All right. Michael?
Only thing I have to say is, Saturday is September 11th. So it's a special day, tragic day, but everyone should remember what happened 20 years ago. Just keep those that we have lost in your thoughts and prayers. And that's all I have to say, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, September 11th is our National Day of Service. And we'll be participating in a cleanup. It's going to be at Queen of Peace, I believe. We're going to start there at City Hall, one of them, Queen of Peace.
Yeah.
So if you are looking to do some community service, we encourage you to do that. Also this Friday, because I represent District A, that represents Lamarck High School and Santa Fe, some parts of Santa Fe and Hitchcock. The annual rivalry of Lamarck Hitchcock game is this Friday. We encourage you guys to come. Now you have to pay your tickets online. You cannot buy them at the gate. So you have to go to tcisd.org to purchase your ticket. I also want to talk about the recent violence in my district. We are having a meeting with some of the owners of the corner stores to talk to them about the recent violence that has been occurring in my district. So I'm asking for the prayer warriors and community leaders in the community to join with us and help us as we try to bring solutions to the table. Mary Bell, I'm very interested in looking at our game rooms and particularly those game rooms and game machines that are within 1,000 feet of our schools. I've got good information that some activity, illegal activity is happening at some of those game machines. And I have a plan to at least curtail some of them around areas that should be safe zones in our city. And if we are to be one of the safest cities in Texas, it starts in my district, where there has been recent violence. And I want to let the city of Lamarck know, and also our constituents that live and reside in District A, that we are on the case. We are working with the good men and women of the Lamarck Police Department and with the owners of these corner stores to come up with solutions to provide a safe city. We are being intentional and we will see a difference. I'm asking you for 90 days. I'm excited that our former chief is back to consult with us, and that's Chief Argon, to consult us and work with us. But the days of violence will be curtailed. And we are giving notice to the owners of Lamarck, these corner stores. If you are not willing to work with us, if you are not willing to help us, then we kindly ask you to exit, because we want store owners that want to keep our community safe. Better lighting, better activities, fix up and paint your buildings. We have an economic development center. Alex Getty is one of the best economic development directors in our county. You can work with him to seek grants to improve your place of business. And with that being said, we've also got some people that are living in commercial properties. You should not be living in commercial property. That is against our code. I want to give a shout out to Mayor. I've received some great feedback from some of our health inspectors regarding our code officers. And they believe that our code officers are some of the best in the county. And that's from people who have been health inspectors for over 25 years in Galveston County. I got that word today. So people will not respect the city of Lamarck until we start respecting the city of Lamarck and loving our city and promoting our city. We were blessed today to have the mayor of Valorem, Belize, to come in town and she wants to learn more about this small city on the coast, the city of Lamarck. Why? Because we are the land of opportunities. So pray for us, work with us, and let's make our amazing city even better. Thank you so much, Mayor. See you on Saturday morning for the community service.
Thank you. And that is here at the Lamarck City Hall, the 9/11 Day of Service. The gathering begins at 7:30 a.m., I'm told.
Okay.
And the dumpster will also be here, as I'm
Okay.
told,
Yeah.
as well too, here in
Yay,
City Hall for
Casey.
that. And I want to express my sincere thanks to, as you know, our friends in Louisiana have still been impacted by Hurricane Ida. The community, Lamarck, Texas City, Hitchcock, Santa Fe, Dickinson, all, and with the assistance of Mayor Bell, Mayor Deidre Johnson, Mayor Tabor, and Mayor is it Perkins?
Skipworth?
Skipworth, Andre Perkins from Hitchcock, is it?
Mhm.
No, it's not.
Amherst.
Amherst.
Amherst, I
The
believe.
mayor.
Mayor and Hitchcock, all of them joining together. But most of all, our fine members in our communities who assisted with the fine citizens and residents of Galveston, the Galveston Regional Chamber of Commerce, and the Texas City Fire Department, and Police Department, and were kept successfully filled an 18-wheeler, which departed on Sunday to Louisiana, directly working with the Cajun Navy over there on that side for distribution. That distribution effort, or the donation effort, continues this week. For those of you interested, you can take those directly to the Texas City Fire Department at 1725 North Logan Street. Texas City Fire Department, 1725 North Logan Street. That is right over there, the street just past the Burger King, before you get to Grand Prize Barbecue and the bowling alley. It's the fire department right there. And also, if those of you who are homebound, if you just send a message to me, I'm more than happy to swing by and pick up your donation as well too. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to my fellow council members for their patience with all of us, and may God bless us all and keep us a happy community and growing one. I remember that. What's that show? Happy Feet. A lot of happy
Be
feet in
happy,
town.
don't worry. Be happy.
Well, let me take my mask off for this one. I want to say there's been a lot of chatter. A lot of chatter, Susie, in our community about all of the wonderful things that have been happening behind closed doors in our city. Well, I believe, Gus, it's time for a managerial audit. I believe it's time for us to really show who did what, when, where, how, and why. And I suspect that that's going to be happening sooner rather than later. I also suspect that some of us will be transparent in our dealings and others will fail. In fact, others have already failed to be transparent in their dealings, and that's going to come to light too. But let me say this. We have passed a tax rate that is a tax rate that will keep our citizens safe, because that's what everybody says they want. I see people on the internet every day, all day, saying that they want to be safe. And is that a gunshot? And what will we do? A couple of weeks ago, I saw people screaming on the internet, big caps, screaming on the internet. We need to keep our city safe. This is ridiculous. So the council adopted a tax rate that will go a long way to do that. And so if anybody wants to start a petition, you're starting a petition against keeping the city safe that you say you want safe. It doesn't even sound coherent. It doesn't even make any sense, but have at it. Because you won't be meeting Mayor Bell or Mayor Pro Tem Compion or Councilwoman Yancey or Councilmember Carlson or Councilwoman McAuliffe, you'll be meeting the citizens of this community and the police department, the ones that you all say you love so near and dear. So start your petition if that's what you want to do. Today is the last day that this council will be bullied, whether in person or whether over the internet. We don't take kindly to any bullies. We don't take kindly to people trying to undermine our government in any way, shape, or form. So what we will do is we'll make sure that everybody knows what actually has happened over the recent period of time in our city. And once that happens, it is what it is. But this council will continue to move forward. We are not dismayed. We are not off kilter. We're not rattled in any way. We're having a ball. And I've been doing this long enough to realize what this is all about. And I'm gonna keep leading this city until one or two things happen. The good Lord calls me home, or the good Lord says for me to sit down, because those are the only two things that will stop me from doing what God called me to do. And if anybody opposes that, then you need to take it up with the Lord. That's all I have to say about that. Gus, we look forward to seeing the reports about what has happened, the truth coming out. Chase, we look forward to seeing the reports about what really happened and the truth coming out. And whatever happens with the tax rate, there'll be those that will be responsible for it. So be careful, because you might just be walking into a trap. Anyway, let me, I'm saying too much. Anybody got anything else? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We adjourn.